Hello, and welcome to this presentation on initiatives within the European University Alliance Unite. I will present something that we're working on in terms of virtual mobility, and of course that has to do with teaching and learning. I'm Katrina Nordström from Aalto University, and I have the pleasure to represent Unite in this presentation. I'm going to go first through a little bit background of who we are, what is Unite, then I'll show you some 3 examples of our activities, and then go through some development actions towards the end. Unite is one of the 17 university alliances that were selected for funding by the European Commission in 2019, and we're composed of a group of 7 partners, of which TU Darmstadt is the coordinator. Our goals and some examples will include 3 case examples. I'll start with the virtual 4-credit mobility program in energy. Here we have developed a program. Actually, I should mention that this initiative was taken by PoliTO, and this is a prompt reaction to the COVID-19 ongoing crisis. And this is a program that is kind of like tailor-made. It consists of some 30 courses. Students can choose up to 12 credits from this program. And these are online courses offered by Unite partners. And this mini pilot, as we call it, has now started. The topic is energy, because that is one of the key areas of Unite activities. There's some interesting things when we look at sort of initiating new mobility programs, such as this one that I'm talking about right now. Of course, if you look at the slide now, we have these 2 blue sort of circles on inbound and outbound mobility. Certainly is similar to what we do with physical mobility, or the criteria that we go through to make the mobility possible, smooth, and also to provide the students with the transcripts that they need. However, we feel also that there are certain challenges that have come up and that need to be addressed. And I do believe that this also covers all similar projects that other alliances might be involved with. First of all, we do need to develop services that are more harmonized, that make these processes smoother. We need unified credit recognition processes. Some of us actually have automatic credit transfer, but some partners do not. So the work needs to be done there too. And one of the biggest challenges, at least personally I think so, is that matching of schedules. Term times and semester times do differ. And for sort of early communication and registering of students, it is important to be able to appreciate these differences and to anticipate them in the planning. Then to go to a project called Inspired. Inspired is actually, it has a very long tradition. TU Darmstadt is in Unite, is responsible for Inspired. And it has started already in 1998 in Germany. And now there's a virtual edition that has actually been also involving Unite. This is a very interdisciplinary coordination. There are disciplines from mechanical engineering, biology, materials, and earth sciences. And there's a strong didactic support, which is extremely important in all online learning that is generated and developed, is to look at the learning outcomes that they really do achieve deep learning, and also specifically here in interdisciplinary problem solving. To illustrate the kind of project that students did that really show the sort of very exciting ways in which you can reach to the stars in a sense, is the interstellar pharmacy, which was a bioreactor that generates specialized nutrients for space stations and off-world colonies. So very exciting and very, I'm sure, a lot of fun for students also. And this is an important element. I strongly believe that learning should be also fun. So for students, the main objectives, of course, is to get an interdisciplinary real-life research project feeling. And I think a very key item is for them to know and to get used to the local industry and culture. Here it says German culture and industry, but of course, we are actually now doing a sort of cloning of this inspired project to other partners, and therefore there will be, of course, then experiences from those local industries and cultures. For universities and other partners, I'm sure you can refer to these slides later. So all I'll pick up on right now is that I think that this is very important for Unite as an example of how we can improve and expand our exchange programs. So in 2020, there was the virtual edition. You can see that several students from different universities participated, different level students, and also that there was a preparative sort of session for students on the kinds of e-learning that this course would require them to be familiar with, and that they could also get support for, which is an important criterion. Here we have a sort of a final evaluation where you can see the upper graph is actually the virtual team project, which really got very good feedback. And I do believe that it is evident that the methods that have been developed for delivering the education have been successful. And these methods will also be part of the development of the good pedagogical practices that we as Unite are also going forward with. There's more information about Inspired in the link below. Then we have the virtual mobility platform, which is a student project that I particularly want to run by you. It focused on special education needs students. As we know, many mobility programs, physical mobility programs may not be accessible to special education needs students. And therefore, there are also solutions that we need to start to think about to really see that all students have equal access to also mobility. And of course, here, virtual mobility offers incredibly sort of interesting ways in which all students can participate equally. So our students at Aalto University did a sort of a summer job project where they looked at how virtual mobility is made accessible to all students. And to me, the take-home message from here was that a virtual mobility platform from a student's point of view is not only where courses are sort of gathered and that's it. It's a lot more. It's about an enrollment platform that functions. It's about having a career center joined to this. It's about a virtual study space with cultural exchange and virtual courses pool, but it's also about a virtual student space where students can share their experiences and their, you know, sort of in a way of a easy way to communicate with students from different backgrounds and cultures. And I do believe that this is applicable to you know, offering this to all students and also including those from special education needs, absolutely. So this, I think, brings a very good student perspective and something that in Unite we need to work on and continue with. Then I will finalize by some development actions and mobility for all, and mention just something that we're doing with joint programs and flexible study pathways. So the joint programs is one of our initiatives, and of course that has a lot to do with mobility because joint programs usually have a mobility element, and now that we're looking at virtual mobility, of course we have to think about how that reflects into a joint program. So we're also creating a Unite Joint Programs identity. We are defining the mandatory criteria for jointness, and we do focus very much on our topics of focus, which are AI, Industry 4.0, entrepreneurship, and energy, as I already mentioned earlier. And then we do need to, as I also referred to earlier, we do need to think about the coordination and support of the development of these joint programs. We've also had a Unite Bootcamp. There's a link here on the slide if you want to have a quick look at a sort of a informal video that we made about the things that are important for our work. And I also mentioned the flexible study paths and joint programs. So finally, the flexible study and learning pathways, we have a group of people working very actively on this. And the idea is that we could develop common and joint rules and a joint terminology, because I believe that all across Europe, people are talking about flexible study pathways, but there is no real definition of that. So I think that each and every one who works on this needs to sort of define what we mean by these, because this is important information for students to know that if they want to go into a joint program, have a flexible study path that they design, what are the criteria so that they can be sure that they do get the diploma that they're looking for in their university, in the joint program, or perhaps at the European level in the future. So we look at choice, which is really offering learners choices in how, what, where, and when they learn. This is about curricular mobility in the middle box, and engagement, recognition, validation, accreditation of the knowledge, skills, and competencies. So obviously all of these have to be considered, and this is part of our ongoing work. Because all of the flexible study pathways or the learning pathways, they do enable the Unite virtual and physical mobility schemes. And this does span across several working packages or task forces that we have in Unite as depicted on this slide, from mobility to all for students, to staff training as to how we can support staff to develop the processes that we need to facilitate the virtual mobility schemes or programs. And that links to activities and services that we offer through our virtual campus. So thank you very much for your attention. I am very grateful to, or Unite is grateful to DAAD for giving us this opportunity to present. And please send me an email if you have any additional questions. Thank you very much.